to our next spot on the board. 4:30 p.m. Eastern, NFC Wild Card, New York Giants, 9-7-1, 4-4 on the road. Minnesota Vikings, 13-4, 8-1 at home. US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We'll start with the line history here for this one. We have these Vikings opening up at -2.5. That -2.5 was at -126 at Pinnacle, so it really was a 3. That 3's at -111 right now. The total opened up at 47.5, and it's now at 48.5. This total even slipped up to 49 at one point yesterday morning. Now at 48.5. Take a look at the cash flow here. We have 11,152 tickets in, and the big bets are all coming in on the Giants. There's so many people who've been talking about this all year. Can't wait till the Vikings get to the playoffs. Can't wait to fade the Vikings in the playoffs, and now they get their opportunity. 56% of the tickets are on the Giants and 90% of the cash. Then from a total standpoint, 58% of the tickets and 55% of the cash is on the over. Daboll's done a spectacular job. You saw it again in that 22-16 loss at Philadelphia with their backups in. It was a very impressive performance. At Davis Webb, first career start, 23 of 40, 168 yards, touchdown. Ran 6 times for 41 yards, touchdown. Cager caught 8 passes for 69 yards. Gary Brightwell ran 11 times for 60 yards. The defense was strong despite resting key pieces. Eagles had Jalen Hurts back. They were held to 342 yards, just 1 of 5 in the red zone. They finished with 3 sacks, 4 quarterback hits, got an interception from Dane Belton. These two teams met in Week 16. Minnesota just got by the Giants 27-24 on that walk-off 61-yard field goal. We were on the over in that game, and kind of fortunate to get there, even though we were waiting for the explosion of offense the whole game and finally got there late. The Giants finished the season as the best team against the spread this year. They've covered 4 straight. They've also covered their last 4 on the road. Their run defense was an issue, but it got better as the season went on. They're allowing 5.2 yards per carry and 144.2 yards per game. Last 3, though, they're allowing 115.3 yards per game. Adoree Jackson dealing with the sprained MCL, Leonard Williams with the neck injury, and outside linebacker Azeez Ojulari. They all are expected to be at practice on Wednesday. They're all going to be on the injury report, but there is a feeling amongst the group that they're all going to play. The Vikings coming off a 29-13 win in Chicago. It was the first time since week 1 that Minnesota won by more than 1 score. This team finished the year outscored by opponents 427-424. That's on a team that went 13-4, 8-1 at home. I mean, it's unbelievable. There's so many different ways of looking at it. I still now, after watching it all year, lean to the side, well, they know that they can win tight games, and that's impressive. Kirk Cousins was 17-20 for 225 yards and a touchdown. Nick Mullins was 11-13 for 116 yards and a pick. The offense put up 482 yards and was 6 of 11 on third down. KJ Osborne's been stepping up more and more as the season's gone on. He caught 5 for 117. Jalen Naylor caught 4 for 62. It's not the offense that anybody's worried about. Their defense didn't have to do much to stop Nathan Peterman and Tim Boyle. They held the Bears to 259 yards, and Patrick Peterson, Duke Shelley had picks. The Vikings finished the season without covering their 4 of their last 5 games. They're 2-8-1 against the spread against NFC opponents. It's their defense that's the problem. They're by far the worst defense to make the postseason. They allowed 265.5 passing yards per game, 7.3 yards per attempt. Dalvin Cook left with a knee injury. He has said that he's good to go this week. 10th in yards per pass attempt at 7.2 yards per pass attempt. New York is 25th in that category. So Zadarius Smith and Harrison Smith are both going to be available. They didn't play last week. Now, I thought Garrett Bradbury would be playing in this football game this week. And there's still question marks whether he will be able to. Their center says he's feeling better. He hurt his back, minor car accident in December. But they need him back. And if Chris Reed is going up against Dexter Lawrence, they're in big trouble. The Vikings opened up tackle Blake Brandel's 21-day window to return from IR. That caught a bunch of people by surprise. He tore his MCL just over a month ago. So, look, the Vikes are 12-0 on the money line as a favorite this season. The Giants are 10-2 against the spread as an underdog. What do you do here, Andy? Shed some light on this spot. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has been harping on the Vikings the entire year. It's a luckbox team. They win close games. Nobody wins this many close games, which is true. Nobody has ever won this many one-score games. It's been amazingly an outlier how they've done this year. It's funny, these two teams combined are, 22, 11, and 1. They've both been outscored by their opponents in summation. Like, both have a negative point differential for the season as they finish this year. The Giants by like 5 or 6, the Vikings by 2 or 3. I think it's a small differential for both, but they've both been outscored this year. Yet they've won 2/3 of their games. They've both been kind of lucky. I think the Vikings, the Giants Pythag win with this many points was like 8 and 9. They didn't finish that much higher than that. They only won one extra game, tied one extra game. But at the same time, the Giants have been kind of lucky. They did get a lot more out of Danny Dimes than I thought they would. And maybe some of that because a lot of it was on the ground. Maybe some of that was just out of necessity, which, the mother of invention. It's also the mother of a quarterback running a ton because you just never had a wide receiver. And that's the biggest thing about this Vikings defense. They've improved so much. The pass rush has been good. Duke Shelley turned out to be a good signing. Harrison Smith is still a very good player. Patrick Peterson has had some moments despite his age. Like, if they're improved against the pass, but at the same time, the Giants are going to run the ball quite a bit. They're going to do a lot of short stuff. They don't have these deep threats. It's not been that. I can't imagine, like, if they just had a couple of decent wide receivers, this Giants team really could have flourished, I think. They lost a lot of close games. They weren't good in their division, but they had a really tough division as well. So I got to give them some credit there. I'd lean towards the Giants, but just the matchup with the Vikings against this defense, I still like that quite a bit. It sounds like Bradbury and Brandell probably both play. If the offensive line is healthy, everybody's healthy, the Vikings should get theirs. This 3 is perfect. This total is perfect. Like, I bet this over in the other game. They landed on 51. If you take total yardage, this year it's about 16 yards. If you take total yardages and divide it by 16, that's about what you have for expected points. If you do the total yardage in the last game between these two teams, it comes out to exactly like 51. Like, they kind of landed right where they should have in the last one, although the score probably should have been flipped because the Giants outgained them by about 100 yards. And that was a pretty poor showing by Minnesota, but yeah, I have this number pretty close to where it should be. If the Vikings money continues to come in at any point and this goes to 3.5, I think that is going to get snatched up so fast. Like, I will be watching for this. If we get Giants out to 3.5, I will bet it. If this gets bet heavily down and there's a Vikings 2, I might bet that as well. Like, it's kind of right in that sweet spot where it should be. These are two teams that one of them's going to win a game, and that's probably their ceiling. Like, I don't think whoever wins this game is a bit of a sacrificial lamb next round. So I might go up and tailgate this one. Who knows? We'll see what the weather's like this weekend. It's only about an hour from the house. I think you're muted, Jimmy the Bag.
What are your expectations of Danny Dimes here in the biggest game of his career?
So it's funny, too, if you look back at the Vikings and what they've given up, to quarterbacks, it hasn't been a ton running, but it's like, the Hurts game, they gave up a bit. He ran for 57 yards, but outside of him and maybe Josh Allen and Justin Fields, they haven't faced a lot of games where they had heavy running quarterbacks. So we'll see how well they defend that. Like, just, the last one, they faced backup quarterbacks and they faced Rodgers. Dimes, I think, had like 30 or 40 yards rushing in the one before that. But then before that, it was Colts, it was Goff, it was Jets, it was Patriots. Like, they haven't had to face a true running threat like this a ton this season. And when they did, like I said, Hurts was pretty good versus them. Josh Allen was pretty good versus them. And in the first matchup, Justin Fields is pretty good. So I think Fields, I'd like to see what his rushing total is for this game. I think he's going to have to scramble quite a bit, and he's going to take advantage of some open lanes. I don't love the Vikings linebackers, and I think he might get there. I think Barkley has a big game, and this is probably it's probably another 27, 24, 24, 21. It feels like a field goal game one way or the other. I do not blame anybody for taking some Giants money line. They should have won that first matchup.
Yeah, I don't blame anyone for that either. I just don't know what to do with Vikings games. I really don't.
No,
and I've not succeeded when I've backed them. I don't want to do it here. So very quickly, a free bet on the total right now at 48.5. What do you do?
Let's take the over. I did it once, got away with it.
Yeah.
It should probably be 49, but I don't think it's so much off that I would bet it.
And it's pretty mixed with the market right now. 58% of tickets, 55% of cash on the over. No official action for either of us here on Giants Vikings.